days, the Cannabis Expo, the global marketplace for education and innovative products, has come to South Africa. After the first day on Friday, there was a lot for local innovators to be cheerful about. The cannabis industry unveiled medicinal, agricultural, financial and lifestyle aspects. The cannabis industry is exploding, and the Cannabis Expo provides the perfect platform for international and local businesses. Joining us in studio to chat more about this is the co-founder of the Expo, Silas Howarth. Thank you so much for your time, Silas. I've been watching on television and you've got amazing coverage of this. This is a first for Africa, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's been absolutely amazing. I mean, there's cannabis expos all around the world, and there have been for many years, from America to Germany through to Australia, and finally we have a Cannabis Expo here on the African continent, here in South Africa. In South Africa.
Look, judging by the numbers that have come through, I saw an interview that you did on the very first day, and the numbers were quite impressive. You know, what would one find at the Cannabis Expo? I saw quite a lot of coverage on it, but obviously I heard there was no spliffing. No one was lighting up. Nobody was selling anything, apart from, of course, some of the oils that are on display. What would one find? Tomorrow is the last day.
So yeah, I mean, the numbers, it's been really, really amazing. It's beat our expectations. We've had tens of thousands of people. I think by the end of tomorrow, we'll be close to 15 to 20,000 people through the door, which is incredible for a first-time expo. And yeah, there's everything on display. You mentioned earlier, it's the agricultural side, there's the growing side. Yes, there's no actual smoking of marijuana, but it's not necessarily just about recreation. There's a whole industry around cannabis, and I think people didn't even realize and don't realize just how big the cannabis industry in South Africa already is. We've got growing, it's now legal to grow cannabis in your own home for personal use, and so there's this massive industry around that. There are businesses that are able to, that are teaching people, first of all, how to grow cannabis, that are selling LED lights specifically for cannabis. There is fertilizer specifically for cannabis, and then right through to the medicinal side, as you were mentioning, the oils. There's talks about it. There's a convention stage with from the master growers to doctors. Actually,
sounds like a whole educational aspect as well about how to grow and how to do various things. But I want to talk about the history of cannabis. You know, it has quite a rich history. If we look as well back to the United States, the use of that for clothing, is it?
In the 1600s.
In the 1600s. Talk to us a bit about that and how, for example, you know, the changes in South Africa in terms of the law, or while we're at a stage now where you can just grow it in your home, how this works for you as those, you know, within this expo, and exactly what you're trying to educate people on.
So as you know, as you mentioned, cannabis has been used for many years, for hundreds of years, in its form of hemp. Hemp fibers is fantastic. Even in South Africa, the reason we were able to go so deep in the mines back then was because the ropes were actually made out of hemp fiber, and so and of course this continent has been using, the world has been using cannabis for hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of years. So it's super interesting how we've suddenly got to this place where the prohibition, you know, happened, and now things are definitely lightening up, and it's made a huge difference, certainly for starting that conversation in South Africa. The Constitutional Court ruling in September really has, I don't think it's necessarily changed mindsets, because I think mindsets have been changing over time. When you look at America, you look at Canada, you look at how, you know, how cannabis is already becoming much more accepted and legalized in so many places, and I think that's happening here, and there's a huge shift, and certainly that's good for the Cannabis Expo. It's good for the cannabis industry as a whole.
Let's talk about the expo itself. I mean, you obviously have people showcasing different products. Talk to us a bit about that.
Sure, there's so many different
plus minus how many?
There's over 50 different exhibitor stands, so right across the different the cannabis industry, and this is just the beginning. We're going to Cape Town from here in the first week of April, and we've got, the venue there is fantastic. It's double the size at Grand West Exhibition Centre there, double the size of what we have now. Then to Durban in June, and then back here November next year, back to Menlyn.
So this will be happening multiple times throughout the year.
And yeah, so in each city throughout the year, and we'll build on it year for year. So we're really excited. It's amazing. We're excited to grow with this industry. We can see how this industry is booming already, and obviously as regulation, as things change, as things lighten, become.
Why do you think there's been such a a wide reception? Because you also look at the various people who've showed up there. There are men in suits. One of my colleagues, Sipho Steerman, who was there during the course of the week. Men in suits, and you've got some Rastafari who were there. Yeah. That was quite hilarious when I saw the one trying to sell some of them. But I know he was taken out again. But what do you think this spells for this global industry?
I think that's the beauty of the Cannabis Expo, and every single person who's there, it's still going on right now, Saturday night, and every single person who's there has got a smile on their face. But it's completely varied, as you say, from the Rasta community there, right? We've got old, over the age of 18. It is an adult expo, but there are people, there are people in their 60s and 70s walking around the show and looking for specific ailments. There are younger people who are there more from the recreational side. So there's business people. Cannabis is big business, and there's huge potential opportunity at the moment with growing farms already in Lesotho, in Malawi. Lesotho just across our borders, and there are stands there. There are people there helping you get licenses to even grow it here in South Africa on a commercial scale. So it's a multifaceted expo, and that's pretty exciting.
Right, tomorrow is the last day. That's right.
Tomorrow's
so next year, where will you be going? You did mention, was it Durban? You said.
So Cape Town first week of April, Durban in June, and then back in Menlyn towards the end of next year.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much for joining us. One of the co-founder of the Cannabis Expo, Silas Howarth, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure you're going back there now, and good luck for your last day.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's take a short break here. Let's go to the weather first, and we'll be back.